An old camera has revealed never-before-seen photos of the Titanic, and they'll terrify you. Deep in the icy waters of the North Atlantic, a team of deep-sea explorers has made a discovery that is rewriting the story of the Titanic. A waterproof camera case, sealed from the elements for more than a century, contained what may be the most disturbing photographic evidence ever recovered from the infamous maritime disaster. The images inside, remarkably preserved despite their age, tell a story far more terrifying than any Hollywood dramatization could capture. What you're about to see challenges everything we thought we knew about that fateful night in April 1912. Curious? Join us and let's go. Number 13. The Underwater Discovery. A team of deep-sea explorers made headlines when they recovered an antique camera sealed in a waterproof case from the North Atlantic depths near the Titanic wreckage. The camera, a Kodak Brownie from 1912, contained a remarkably preserved film roll that survived over a century underwater. Marine archaeologists were stunned by the discovery since most items recovered from the Titanic site had deteriorated significantly due to saltwater exposure and biological processes. The camera's protective casing, made of an experimental alloy, developed for maritime exploration, preserved the film in near-perfect condition despite the extreme pressure and freezing temperatures of the deep ocean environment. Experts from the Maritime Historical Society authenticated the camera as belonging to one of the passengers who didn't survive the disaster. Analysis of serial numbers and passenger manifests traced it to Alexander Carlyle, a wealthy businessman and amateur photographer who had documented much of the voyage. Number 12. Final Moments of the Captain. Perhaps the most haunting images recovered show Captain Edward John Smith in his final moments aboard the sinking vessel. Previously, historians only had speculation about the captain's actions during the disaster, but these photos tell a devastating story. One particularly shocking image shows Smith on the bridge, gripping the ship's wheel as water rushes in, his face displaying a mixture of determination and resignation. Another photo captures him helping passengers into lifeboats, contradicting claims that he abandoned his responsibilities. The timestamp on the camera places these images approximately 20 minutes before the ship's final plunge. The captain appears soaked, having clearly remained on the flooding bridge far longer than previously documented. In one frame, Smith stands alone on the starboard side of the sinking bridge, looking out at the lifeboats rowing away. His uniform, normally impeccable, appears disheveled, and his captain's hat is missing. Number 11. The Hidden Coal Fire. The newly discovered photos confirmed what researchers had long suspected. The Titanic suffered from a substantial coal bunker fire even before departing Southampton. The images show crew members frantically working to control flames in the forward coal storage area, while passengers remained completely unaware of the danger. Close-up shots revealed discoloration along the steel hull exactly where the iceberg would later strike, supporting theories that the fire had weakened the metal structure through thermal stress. The photographs capture Chief Engineer Joseph Bell inspecting the damaged area with visible concern on his face. Log entries visible in one image indicate the fire burned at temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees, hot enough to compromise the integrity of the ship's steel plates. The images show makeshift cooling systems hastily installed by crew members to prevent the fire from spreading to adjacent compartments. Shockingly, one photo displays a meeting between Captain Smith and White Star Line officials clearly discussing the fire situation, contradicting testimony given during later inquiries that downplayed knowledge of the severity. I have a question for you. First, I would like to say that it is possible to follow the greatest curiosities of our world every day, but to do so, you need to be subscribed to our channel. So, are you already subscribed? If not, take the opportunity to subscribe now. Also, take the opportunity to like the video, so YouTube will recommend more videos from our channel, so leave your like right now. And now that you have done that, let's go. Number 10. The iceberg's true impact. For over a century, experts debated the exact nature of the damage caused by the iceberg collision. These newly discovered photos finally provide visual evidence of the actual impact. The images reveal that, contrary to popular belief, the iceberg didn't create a massive gash, but rather caused a series of punctures and separations along the hull's riveted plates. Several photos taken from a lifeboat show the iceberg itself significantly larger than previously estimated, with a distinctive dual-peak formation that matches descriptions from survivor accounts. Close-up images of the damaged hull, taken during the sinking, show buckled steel plates and popped rivets spanning nearly 300 feet along the starboard side, far more extensive than historical estimates suggested. Water can be seen rushing through multiple small breaches rather than one catastrophic hole. Number 9. Desperate final moments. The recovered camera contained truly horrifying images of the Titanic's final minutes above water, documenting scenes previously known only through survivor testimonies. The photos show the dramatic tilt of the ship as its stern rose higher into the air, with passengers clinging to railings, deck furniture, and anything fixed to the increasingly vertical surface. Several disturbing images capture individuals falling from the tilting decks into the freezing North Atlantic waters. The ship's massive propellers, fully exposed as the stern lifted, dwarf the human figures sliding down the decks. One particularly haunting photo shows the entire vessel nearly vertical moments before breaking apart, with clear structural deformation visible along the middle section. The lights of the ship remained on until almost the very end, creating an eerie illumination of the disaster unfolding in the North Atlantic darkness. Number 8. The aftermath in freezing waters. Perhaps the most disturbing images in the collection document the immediate aftermath of the sinking, showing hundreds of passengers struggling in the freezing North Atlantic waters. These photographs confirm the accounts of survivors who described a sea full of people wearing life preservers but quickly succumbing to hypothermia in water just 28 water retreat in course. 2 degrees warnings. The images show densely packed groups of people initially calling out and swimming toward lifeboats that remained at a distance, fearful of being swamped by desperate swimmers. Several photographs capture the awful reality of how quickly hypothermia affected victims, showing individuals becoming progressively less responsive in the span of just minutes. The photos document that many victims were wearing life jackets, but died from cold exposure rather than drowning, their bodies floating motionless in the water. Number 7. Hidden structural flaws. The newly discovered photos expose critical structural deficiencies in the Titanic's construction that contributed significantly to its rapid sinking. Several close-up images show substandard rivets popping, free from steel plates under pressure, confirming theories that cost-cutting measures during construction resulted in weaker connections than specified in the design. The photos document visible stress fractures along welded seams that occurred immediately after impact, demonstrating that the supposedly advanced shipbuilding techniques failed under real emergency conditions. One particularly revealing image shows steel plates becoming brittle and cracking in the freezing water rather than deforming under pressure, supporting metallurgical theories about the low-quality steel used in construction. Photos of the watertight compartment doors show them failing to seal properly against the pressure of incoming water, with visible leakage around edges that should have remained watertight. Several images document the emergency pumps struggling against the inflow, capable of moving only a fraction of the water entering the damaged compartments. Number 6. The missing lifeboat drills. The recovered images provide definitive proof that required safety drills were never conducted during the voyage, contributing directly to the chaotic evacuation that cost hundreds of lives. Several photos show crew members struggling with basics, lifeboat deployment mechanisms, clearly unfamiliar with the equipment they were operating. The images document lifeboats being lowered unevenly, nearly spilling passengers into the ocean because crew members lacked proper training on the David systems. One particularly telling photograph shows officers consulting emergency procedure manuals during the actual evacuation, evidently unfamiliar with protocols that should have been practiced repeatedly before the voyage. Several images capture lifeboats departing the sinking vessel only partially filled, confirming accounts that crew members misunderstood loading capacity instructions or feared structural failure of the davits under full load. The photos reveal passengers receiving contradictory instructions from different crew members, with some areas maintaining strict women and children first protocols while others allowed men to board lifeboats directly. Number 5. The band's final performance. The camera captured the famous Titanic band during their legendary final performance, confirming details that had previously existed only in survivor testimonies. The photos show the 8 musicians gathered on the boat deck, near the entrance to the first-class grand staircase, playing their instruments as the ship listed increasingly to one side. Their formal attire remained impeccable even as chaos unfolded around them, with bandleader Wallace Hartley clearly visible directing the ensemble. The images confirmed that the band initially played ragtime and popular tunes in an attempt to calm passengers, but later switched to hymns as the situation became dire. One particularly poignant photo shows them performing "Nearer, My God, to Thee," which survivors had reported as their final piece, though this had been disputed by historians for decades. The timestamps on the images prove the band continued, playing for over 2 hours after the collision, stopping only when water physically reached their position on the slanting deck. Several photos capture passengers pausing during evacuation to listen momentarily, finding brief comfort in the music amid the panic. Number 4. Untold Stories of Third-Class Passengers. The recovered camera contained shocking images of conditions in the third-class sections during the sinking that were never documented in official inquiries. These photos reveal that many third-class passengers were initially prevented from accessing the upper decks where lifeboats were being loaded. Multiple images show gates locked and guarded by crew members while water began filling lower compartments. The timestamps indicate these barriers remained in place for over 40 minutes after the collision. Particularly disturbing are shots of families huddled together in flooded corridors, apparently unaware of evacuation procedures or the severity of the situation. The cramped third-class common areas appear overcrowded with passengers receiving no instructions while water visibly rises around their ankles. Several photos capture desperate individuals attempting to navigate the ship's confusing layout without assistance or direction. Number 3. The Separated Families. The recovered photographs document heartbreaking scenes of families being forcibly separated during the evacuation process, providing visual confirmation of one of the disaster's most tragic aspects. Several images show fathers saying final goodbyes to wives and children at lifeboat stations, many clearly expecting never to see each other again. The photos capture crew members physically preventing men from boarding boats while allowing women and children to proceed, often resulting in families making impossible decisions about whether to stay together or split up. One particularly devastating image shows the Goodwin family, with the mother and younger children entering a lifeboat while the father and oldest son remain on deck, neither group appearing to understand this would be their final moments together. Several photographs document small children being physically lifted from their father's arms by crew members and passed to female passengers in lifeboats, the men's faces showing they understood they were seeing their children for the last time. Number 2. The Forgotten Heroes. The newly discovered images reveal numerous acts of heroism that went unrecognized in official accounts of the disaster. Several photos capture crewmen working tirelessly below decks to maintain power to the wireless room and emergency lighting systems long after they could have attempted to save themselves. The images document numerous male passengers actively helping women and children into lifeboats while making no attempt to secure spots for themselves, contradicting reports that panic and selfishness dominated the evacuation. One remarkable sequence shows Chief Baker Charles Joggin throwing deck chairs and other wooden objects overboard to serve as floating devices for those who would end up in the water, a resourceful act previously known only through his own testimony. Several photos capture numerous engineers remaining at their posts in the engine rooms, even as water began flooding in, maintaining power for emergency systems until the very end. Number 1. The Salvaged Treasures. The final set of photos documents passengers hastily gathering valuables as the ship began to sink, revealing surprising details about what people chose to save when facing death. Several images show first-class passengers stuffing jewelry, cash, and important documents into pockets as water flooded lower decks, prioritizing portable wealth over bulkier possessions. The photos capture numerous individuals wearing multiple layers of their finest clothes, apparently attempting to save valuable garments rather than leaving them behind. One image shows a woman wearing several necklaces layered atop each other and multiple rings on each finger, clearly attempting to keep her jewelry with her rather than losing it to the ocean. Several photos document passengers carrying small family heirlooms and religious objects, choosing sentimental items over more valuable possessions when forced to make quick decisions. The images reveal that many passengers grabbed practical items like fountain pens and pocket watches, apparently planning for survival rather than expecting to perish. One particularly poignant photo shows a father carefully placing a pocket photo of his family into his son's coat before helping him onto a lifeboat, ensuring the child would retain this connection even if they never saw each other again. Now, I have a special recommendation for you. Are you seeing this video that is appearing on the screen? Click on it because I'm sure you'll like it. Well, that's it, and until next time, Curious One.